Welcome, Vitor Gaspar, Director of the Fiscal Affairs Department at the IMF. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
The IMF has just published the April issue of the Fiscal Monitor entitled, "Now is the Time, Fiscal Policies for Sustainable Growth." Two key issues are published in this Fiscal Monitor: energy subsidies and energy taxation reform. Why now?
Well, if you think about developments in the last 6 months, you realize that the most marked trend was the sharp fall in oil prices. We regard that as a great opportunity to engage in energy taxation and energy subsidy reform. If you think about energy prices, you see that in many countries, in many oil exporters, energy prices fail to reflect fully international supply costs. But, perhaps more important, almost everywhere, energy prices do not reflect fully the indirect damage that energy consumption causes on people and the environment through, for example, air pollution. Experience shows that environments where oil prices have fallen lead to a situation where social acceptance of the reform process is greater. For example, we look at Peru. In 2010, Peru engaged in energy subsidy reform. The macroeconomic environment was characterized by low inflation and strong economic growth. The reform process was a success. 2015 is a very important year. In December, in Paris, we have the UN Climate Change Conference. In the run-up to Paris, countries will be pledging emission reduction targets. In that context, energy subsidy and energy taxation reform can only help.
Besides the positive impact on environment, what other benefits are there for energy subsidies and energy taxation reform?
It's about sustainable growth. It's about sustainable growth. Fiscal policies should support growth, and energy taxation and energy subsidy reform provide an opportunity to do so. For example, in developing and low-income developing countries, one could use the additional room for fiscal policy to finance growth-friendly expenditures, be it investment in infrastructure, investment in health and education, or programs to support the poor. In advanced economies, it's more about cutting taxes which are particularly detrimental to growth. For example, labor taxation.
So how can the IMF help those countries that want to implement reforms?
Well, the Fiscal Affairs Department of the International Monetary Fund has been very engaged in supporting countries who want to reform in recent years. The Fiscal Monitor documents that experience, and on the basis of our knowledge, it identifies key elements for the success of the energy subsidy reform process. We have examples of countries like Angola, Cote d'Ivoire, India, Indonesia, or Malaysia. As a matter of fact, we document that more than 20 countries around the world have already started engaging in the process of energy subsidy reform. In the context of the environmental priorities for 2015, this is a very promising development.
Vitor Gaspar, thank you very much.
Thank you.